Deep in the heart of the Pacific Northwest, where the forests are dense and the air is thick with the scent of pine, lies a place where nature reigns supreme. It's a place where the trees stretch endlessly toward the sky, and the only sounds are the rustling of leaves and the occasional call of a distant bird. For 34-year-old wildlife photographer Clara Bennett, it was the perfect escape from the chaos of city life. She had come to the forest to capture its beauty, but what she found would leave her questioning everything she thought she knew. It was a crisp autumn morning when Clara set out on her hike. The trail was one she had taken many times before, but this time she decided to venture off the beaten path. Armed with her camera and a sense of curiosity, she wandered deeper into the woods, following a narrow deer trail that wound through the trees. After about an hour of hiking, Clara stumbled upon something that made her stop in her tracks. Nestled among the trees was a tiny house, no larger than a garden shed. It was quaint and charming, with a moss-covered roof, a small wooden door, and a single window with lace curtains. The sight was so unexpected that Clara couldn't help but laugh. "Who on earth would build a house out here?" she muttered to herself. Curiosity got the better of her, and Clara approached the tiny house. The door was slightly ajar, and the air around it was eerily still. She hesitated for a moment, then pushed the door open and stepped inside. The interior was just as charming as the exterior. There was a small table with a teacup and saucer, a rocking chair by the window, and a bookshelf filled with old, leather-bound books. The walls were adorned with framed photographs of people Clara didn't recognize, and the air smelled faintly of lavender. But as Clara explored further, she noticed something strange. The teacup on the table was still warm, as if someone had just been there. The rocking chair was moving ever so slightly, as if it had just been vacated. And the photographs on the walls, they seemed to be watching her. Clara's heart began to race. "Hello?" she called out, her voice trembling. "Is anyone here?" There was no response, but Clara couldn't shake the feeling that she wasn't alone. She turned to leave, but as she did, her eyes fell on something that made her blood run cold. In the corner of the room was a small, ornate mirror. At first glance, it looked like any other mirror, but as Clara approached, she noticed something strange about her reflection. It wasn't her. The figure in the mirror was a woman, but she looked nothing like Clara. She had long, dark hair, pale skin, and eyes that seemed to glow with an otherworldly light. She was smiling, but it wasn't a friendly smile. It was a smile that sent chills down Clara's spine. Clara stumbled backward, her heart pounding. "What the hell?" she whispered. The woman in the mirror tilted her head, her smile widening. Then, to Clara's horror, she reached out of the mirror and grabbed Clara's arm. Clara screamed and yanked her arm away, but the woman's grip was like iron. She pulled Clara closer, her glowing eyes boring into Clara's soul. "You shouldn't have come here," the woman said, her voice echoing as if it were coming from all directions at once. Clara fought with all her strength, but it was no use. The woman pulled her into the mirror, and everything went black. When Clara woke up, she was lying on the forest floor outside the tiny house. The door was closed, and the air was still. She scrambled to her feet, her mind racing. Had it all been a dream? A hallucination? But as she looked down at her arm, she saw the faint marks of fingers where the woman had grabbed her. Clara didn't wait to find out more. She ran back to the trail, her heart pounding, and didn't stop until she reached her car. She drove home in a daze, her mind replaying the events over and over. Over the next few weeks, Clara tried to convince herself that it had all been in her head, but she couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching her. She began to have nightmares about the tiny house and the woman in the mirror, and she found herself drawn to the forest, even though she was terrified of what she might find. One night, Clara woke up to find a photograph on her bedside table. It was one of the photographs from the tiny house, but she had no idea how it had gotten there. The woman in the photograph was smiling, her eyes glowing just like they had in the mirror. Clara knew then that she had to go back. She had to find out the truth. The next day, Clara returned to the forest, armed with her camera and a sense of determination. She found the tiny house just as she had left it, but this time, the door was closed. Clara took a deep breath and pushed the door open. The interior was exactly the same, but this time the mirror was gone. In its place was a small wooden box. Clara opened the box and found a letter inside. The handwriting was elegant and flowing, but the words sent chills down her spine. To the curious soul who finds this, know that some doors are better left unopened. The forest holds many secrets, but not all of them are meant to be discovered. Leave now and never return. Clara didn't need to be told twice. She left the tiny house and never looked back. But to this day, she can't shake the feeling that the woman in the mirror is still watching her, waiting for her to return. If you found this story touching and inspiring, please like the video, share it with others, and leave your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for following along, and we'll see you next time for more uplifting tales.